without sight. Connect, collaborate, and create.
Hello, and welcome to the Sound Without Sight podcast. In this episode, we welcome Andre Louis, who composes a full track in around an hour using Logic Pro and Native Instruments Complete Kontrol with a screen reader. Andre refers to the session as musical chefing, and he takes suggestions for ingredients from attendees. He also answers questions from attendees throughout the session. This podcast was recorded live as part of the Sound Without Sight monthly meetup for July 2025. We hope you enjoy. Hello, Andre.
Hello.
How are you?
Tired, hot, but ready to do this.
Yeah, it is that midsummer session. But yeah, I'm very, very excited for tonight. Is there anything in particular that you would like to kind of go on to begin with? What about general kind of style or something like that?
Well, the thing is, right, this is your podcast. So when I've done this before, the client, in this case yourself, tells me basically what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. And I have hundreds of thousands of ingredients, but I don't know where they're going to go. I've got way too many, so we have to narrow it down to the best few.
Yeah.
We start with like maybe an idea, a style, a tempo, and even a sound.
So maybe to begin with, if you explain the tools that you've got at your disposal in terms of what software, what hardware we're using, and we'll start there if that's okay.
I am using the new Native Instruments Complete Kontrol S61 Mark III. And I say new because it's new for us in the accessibility world. It's only been out for a few months, and I'm using the public beta of that. And I can talk about it. And the most recent beta that's just come out a couple of days ago allows it to auto-map any plugin, right? Any. That does not just mean with inside of Complete Kontrol. That means anything. So I have the Logic Piano in front of me right now, for example, and I can control the parameters of the Logic Piano direct from the keyboard. And Scott is going to roll his eyes when I say this, but this is game-changing. There have been other keyboards in the past that have done that, like Novation Automapper and stuff, but none of them are spoken. So this doing that, you could put Piano Tech on a track or a Waves plugin or Logic, any other Logic stock plugins and effects. If you go to an audio track that's got effects on it, you can control those too. So yeah, it is the cliche phrase game-changing, and it's really big.
That's super, super exciting. So I assume we're going to be using Logic Pro and primarily Complete Kontrol sounds or any sound?
Whatever's needed, I think, if I can get to it and it doesn't cause the machine to fall over. Because, live demos make you look incompetent.
I appreciate there's some risk involved in doing this session. So thank you very much for bearing with us, Andre, and everyone here. So I guess we'll start general. We had a request from Katie Zodro, who is asking, could we compose the new theme for the podcast in either a funk or a pop and rock style? And actually, pop came up a couple of times from other people as well. So I think a kind of pop-funk crossover. I think that's probably your comfy place anyway, right, Andre? So
I like this person already. Yeah, because I could delve into, for example, the Rhodes Anthology plugin, which, what more could you ask for, really?
And that really, we had an anonymous submission as well, who was saying basically when they have done podcast or music for radio before, Rhodes has been a really good sound as the kind of basis because it's quite mellow and it leaves space for dialogue and stuff like that. And I know you're quite a fan of electric pianos anyway, so I think if we
bit.
Exactly. So maybe if we use your favorite Rhodes or whirly sound that you have found in the last couple of years, are there any that jump out to you, Andre?
There's a few. Some of my favorites include Sonicature's The Canterbury Suitcase, and the word "the" is in the product material. The most recent one that I got to actually was the Rhodes Anthology plugin from Rhodes themselves, as well as the newly released Whirly. They're both excellent and very well sampled and very nice to play.
Amazing. Well, if you've got Logic there and voiceover on, would you mind just demonstrating how you might open up those sounds, and we'll have a listen to both?
Right, let me send you voiceover.
Track 2 complete.
Piano and Complete. Right, so this is the Logic Piano I was talking about. Now, before I move on, I just want to show new people this, because I know that there's a friend of mine in the audience that has been umming and ahhing about buying a new keyboard for many years and is using a keyboard that is older than some of us in this room. So if I were to briefly just tap across these controls, bearing in mind this is not a Complete Kontrol plugin, I can...
Instrument, Studio Grand.
Studio Grand, I can...
Volume stereo mic A, 100.
Turn the mic up and down. And I didn't do anything other than load the plugin here. I can switch to the other mic as well. There are 3 mics.
Volume on mic 100. Mic on.
So if I
Mic
turn
on,
off
off.
mic A,
Mic B on.
mic B on is on. It's a different sound. And I'll switch to the mono mic.
Mic B on.
Hold on.
Off.
Off and
Mic mono on.
so that's not a complete plugin, and it's really cool that I can do that. But yeah, we won't be using that. So what I'll do is go down to this first complete track. And what we'll do is we'll start by naming, because when you are working on a project, the very best thing you can do is name as you go. So we'll do Shift Enter to give the thing a name, and I'll just call it Roads for now.
Complete. Content select replace. Tilde. Reduce. Tilde review. Select replace. R.
If I could type.
Track 1 piano. Roads.
Yeah, there we go. Right, so now we're going to the browser on the keyboard, and this is a complete control track, so it's empty. When I play the keyboard, nothing happens yet. So I'll hit the browser key.
Roads.
And
Browser.
I will press button 5 on the top edge of the screen.
User save on.
And it switches into my user area, because this is not a factory NKS plugin. This is done by third parties. And I'm going to change the vendor to Rhodes.
Round empty. IK multimedia. Cork. Mad title. Modit. Native instrument. Newfangled audio. Project Sam. Quiet music. Rhodes.
Rhodes. And if I change the second knob to Anthology.
Rhodes V8 Pro. Rhodes Whirly.
Where'd it go?
Empty.
Behave.
Anthology.
There it
Anthology.
goes. It's a very fine knob, and if you spin too fast, you pass it. So what I'm going to do is turn on favorites, because I've already gone through and favorited all the sounds I already like in this plugin.
Favorites on.
That's by pressing button 7 on the keyboard, and now I can load the first sound. I don't want that.
Next.
Press the next preset key. And as some of you may hear, if you're using headphones, it's moving across the stereo spectrum there. This is not. That's a nice sound. Can always modify it, of course. I've got all the access to the controls in front of me now.
Main volume 0.0 dB.
Volume, for example.
Main drive 0%.
Drive, so you can add some distortion. Oh yeah,
0%.
it gets
Main drive
bitey.
0%. Main timbre 0 semi.
And then there's timbres,
Main pedal noise 0 dB.
pedal noise,
Main tuning 0 CT.
tuning, and so on. So I've got a lot of fine control over this. For those of you who cannot see, this keyboard in front of me has 8 controls. That doesn't mean that there's only 8 parameters, though. I can move over to another page, and there's another set of 8 and another set of 8, as many as the manufacturer has mapped. Now, not all plugins are made equal, but with NKS2, they plan to rectify that. For example, if I were to load one of the Arturio V Collection plugins, you get a standard set of mappings, which you get with NKS1 support on your Native Instruments, let's say ARM series hardware or the S Mark II. But if you press button 8 on the screen, it goes into edit mode, and and I do mean every, I think I counted about 30-something pages of parameter is mapped. It is a bit crazy, but you can see a lot of things. So we have our Rhodes, and we can always change it later. At the beginning of our building block. So now to decide key and tempo and feel and all the rest of it. So Jay, as it's your podcast, what would you like me to try?
Yeah, so I mean, we had a couple of suggestions from our steering group based around general feelings that we feel would be appropriate for Sound Without Sight, things that represent the project. A couple of the words that came up were uplifting and dynamic. So I guess I'm picking from there. It will be a kind of slightly above average tempo, probably a major key. What about if we go 140 beats per minute?
120.0.
Okay, let's do that.
Insider. 140.0000.
Go, we're at 140.
Tracks group.
Let's see what that's like. I'm going to hit the spacebar without recording.
1 bar.
I'm just playing there. I'm just,
Octave down.
So you can do all kind of things like that.
13,392.
That's quite a nice funky feel there. It said a major key, so I was like working in E major.
It does feel nice. I wonder whether that tempo might feel a bit busy, given that we're going to be speaking.
It could well be, and that's the thing.
Maybe let's drop it down to 130, see what that feels like.
Yeah.
104.0 inside. 130.0.
This is the joy of like trying to build something, because everything changes. But until you get the foundations, everything is up in the air and everything can happen.
Next. 1 bar.
This is 130.
Advanced 100 objects.
See, if I liked that, I could actually do this thing in Logic, which is called capture. So it's for those of us who suffer with the red light syndrome, where every time you hit record, you play like an absolute buffoon. I do this a lot, by the way. So you play in playback mode, and then if you end up doing a take you like, and you go, I wish I'd recorded that, I could Shift R it, and that will actually put it in the record. Now, I can do better, but it's just a nice option to have. And I often find that if I've done like a really fun thing, and then I want to come back, and I do a solo, sorry, and I find that, hey, that solo was kind of neat, I want to at least keep some of it, I'll do the Shift R trick, and it actually adds it to the timeline. So it's a really, really nice feature. But what do you think of the chord choices here? So we've got E major, and A flat minor, and A major 7.
Yeah,
And then I
I'm
went to the
liking it.
F sharp B7, B. And then I went kind of like a nice ending.
Super nice. How about if we started off a little bit more sparse at the beginning, and then the chords got colourful like that, maybe the second time round?
Quite fun, that. Kind of an intro thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I could do it
I've
twice,
enjoyed that.
once sparse and then once less sparse.
One bar. One bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go for
The
it.
most nerve-wracking thing of any project, I think, is just getting that initial bit down. Because when you do that and you start adding bass and drums, everything comes much easier. But it's just the initial basis, the foundation, that's the hardest part. Yeah, let's
One
do
bar.
it.
Record. Advanced
Right, I
700.
screwed up somewhere. Let me find it.
3 bars. 4 bars. 5 bars. 5 bars. 400. 5 bars. 299
Yeah,
ticks.
I don't like that.
5 bars. 5 bars. 408 ticks.
So what I'm going to do is do a, let's split the region at that point.
Notes crossing split point window. Tracks group and title objects. Tracks window.
4.
Split regions ends. Play exits. Split regions ends. 7 bars. 200.
Yeah, okay, so
6 bars. 7 bars. 7 bars. 8 bars. 7 bars. 6 bars. 884 ticks. Split 6 bars. 844 bars. 800. 5 bars. 900.
I'm going to replay just that bit.
Selection deleted. 4 bars. 4 bars.
I'm going to do it in
599
capture mode, so that means if I overplay or play it wrong, it actually won't get saved. So I'm actually 1 bar
4
behind.
bars.
Now,
9 bars.
I just did Shift R, so I wasn't recording at that point, but I've done Shift R now, so that part that I just played is actually inserted.
4 bars.
There it is, back safe and sound.
Track record. Track notes. Roots. 9 bars.
Right, so then we can go back to the beginning and do the more... Although having said that, because I was kind of thinking in my head of all the instrumentation at once, I don't need to, because obviously I can come back with the bass afterwards. I can still keep it sparse and just add bass later. This is the thought process when you're writing something. If you aren't musicians and you're in the room, it may sometimes feel like everything you hear has just come off the production line ready to go. But that's so far from the truth. The build-up can take days, weeks, months, sometimes years. Obviously, we don't have days, weeks, months, or years in this case, so I have to think and work quickly. But it's okay because I enjoy working under pressure. But it's just that initial spark. I'm going to stay in this register, I think.
4 bars. 4 bars. 5, 6 bars. 6 bars. 9 bars. 8 bars. Roots dialog.
Right. Shift R.
Toolbar button. Tracks group and title objects. Tracks window. Kate Isoda has joined the meeting.
I didn't record, but I've now put it in. Okay.
He has left the meeting.
Okay, that'll do. We've got 16 bars, and I'm going to save this as
Save dialog. Save.
sound
Tap select replace. Exotics. Sound.
without sight.
Tracks group sound.
That way, if anything happens to my life, at least something is saved, and you're a
Complete.
little witness to that now. So I want to work in stages. I don't want to build up the entire chords track without having done any of the other work. So I think now we move on to something else and come back around for like a middle eight and things like that. What are you thinking of length for podcast intro? Because 45 seconds to a minute is more than adequate for most.
What I would really like is a piece that is about 45 seconds to a minute, but with a middle section that could be looped if we need to make it longer.
Of course. That's what I think too. Yeah. I suppose I should put a little bit of thing in here. I do a lot of music like this. I do a lot of short tracks, and I have them all freely available online. So this is kind of one of my favorite areas actually to work in, is this kind of short form stuff, but fully fledged, beginning, middle, end. It's very enjoyable. So what do you think about a bass or drums next, or what would you like a melodic thing?
I think if we go to the drums, that'll give us a good kind of rhythmic basis to build stuff up top of later.
So what I'm doing is making a duplicate of the existing track because I want to put bass in the middle. I don't like having, say, Rhodes, then drums, then bass. I like to have all my drums at the bottom. It's a thing. And it actually stems back to the old MIDI days where I would put all my drums on track 10 because of the general MIDI modules I was using at the time. And so it just kind of stems from that. And I find it very hard not to do that. Drums. Okay. Right, the first thing I'm going to do actually is to turn off Poly Aftertouch in this project. And that's because I'm going to use addictive drums. And if I don't, every time I hit a cymbal or a hi-hat, it chokes the sound and it's very annoying. So Poly Aftertouch is ticked.
Andre, while we're tweaking some settings, do you think for the benefit of people who aren't used to using VoiceOver, we could slow the speech down just a touch?
Do you know why I didn't? And I was waiting for you to ask.
Why is that?
Time constraints. And I thought a fly on the wall would show you how I work, not how it is to be in a demo, but to see it for real. I could, and if people, say it enough, I will. But time crunch means that I'm working at my pace, and I thought you might want to see it at my pace.
Let's keep it there then.
It is not out of selfishness. It's literally just... Yeah.
AR mod, drum. AR vint, drum. Addictive keys. Allura volume 1.
Oh.
82.
Okay, addictive drums.
Bank
So
20. In D, GM.
now I'm looking
Mon Solar B. Bank. Mon Solar GM. Mon Solar B. Mon Solar
kit
B.
that will work.
Favorite song.
And
Load.
I'm loading addictive drums and
Octave down.
dropping down an octave. Right, so what I'm going to do first of all is use Logic Ease
Logic Ease on.
by doing Shift/ and knocking the volume down by
Phase level minus 2.0 dB. Phase level minus 3.0 dB.
3 dB to try that.
1 bar.
And drums won't come in at the beginning necessarily, but I'm just going to play along with it to see if I can find a beat that I like. That's quite busy, but it's just to see what I could think of.
I really like that, Andre.
Do you like that?
The sound of the drums is great as well. I know some of that that's in your fingers, but to get those kinds of sounds from a MIDI kit, great.
Yeah, it's quite punchy, this kit. I like it. And it's got a nice clap. I do like that, kind of nice. So I think for the intro, what do you think I kind of maybe... So kind of a softer intro with a clap only, and then maybe bring the snare in at that point. What do you think? Something like that.
Yeah, love that.
Halfway and halfway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go for that.
Stop. Record.
so we have a...
1 bar.
I'll turn the metronome off and have a listen without it, because I like to do that every now and then, just to get the feel for it and see if it would sound good in production, because not everything does. And sometimes what I find, it's really weird, is that the metronome ends up being a percussion instrument, so when you remove it, it's bare. It's really weird. You kind of get used to hearing it.
As well. And just for everyone here, Andre, you do any quantization on the way in? Is it smart quantize? Or
Yes, it is smart quantize. I should say I love smart quantize because it will do my ghost notes. But what I'm going to do is drop down the humanize a little bit so that it's less tight.
Row column 2. 1 inside 80%. 75%.
75%. Sometimes I use like 70.
Outsider. Tracks group.
Okay, let's see what we got. I've just pressed the dreaded Command S. See, got my ghost notes. So then we can move on to a nice mid-late, and I'll probably go half-time for the mid-late. I have an idea to start in C-sharp minor for the next part.
Track 3 complete.
But I think a bass is necessary now. What do you think?
I think that's cool. I think we could probably get away with getting rid of the clap for the first 4 bars. Though.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm being pernickety, but I think
No, this is the way. This is what building is all about. If you don't say it, I'm not going to know.
2 bar. 3 4 bars.
And everyone else, please feel free to raise hands or put any comments in the
Is there
chat.
anything? Is anyone saying anything in the chat? I'm not going to see it.
Not yet.
Above 996. Split regions ends play position. 1 bar.
All right, so what I do now is I go into the event list editor with Command 7,
Sound outside logic.
and then I start going through the...
No resume. Column 1. Row 4. Column 2.
Right, so I found the first instance of the clap. I do Control Shift F to
176 lines.
select all instances of that, and hopefully it's not done it across the entire track. We're going to find out the hard way, and I'm going to hit backspace.
Column 1. Row 4. Column 2.
Right.
Row 4. 1 bar.
If it's there after bar 4, I'll know. It did come in at bar 5.
Yep.
Yeah. So it did work. I was kind of wondering if it would work. There's always that. Don't do live demos with animals, toddlers, or computers. But so far, touch wood, it is behaving.
Well, that works a bit better for me because you don't have the brightness of the clap because we're going to do the sound without sight kind of audio logo at the start.
Yeah, of course. This is another thing where I say this to my students all the time as well, and I've just done the thing that I say not to do, is when I think of music, I think of it without any vocals or words on top. And so I make it busy to be interesting. But sometimes you don't want busy to be interesting. You want interesting without busy. Mm-hmm. Not very coherent, but you get the idea.
Absolutely.
So I've got to think different. It's not always easy when you're in like a mindset.
Yeah, so we've got a question in the chat from Marshall, who's asking,
Hi, Marshall.
How do you get Logic to do smart quantization on the way in?
Right, so you go into the inspector, and when you see where it says quantize as a pop-up, that is actually a 2-state pop-up. In there, you'll find quantize or smart quantize. And smart quantize is something that I have in my Logic template, and I would not be without. The first time I ever used it, it was called Analytic Quantize, and it was in Cubase 3.7 back in the 2000s. And then I needed that for the rest of my life, and I didn't have it for the next 13 years in QWS. And I asked if James could implement it, and he wasn't sure how. That's not a dig against James. It made me work much harder for the same effect. So I would then, in QWS, which was James's free MIDI sequencer for Windows, select bars where there were ghost notes and quantize them differently. So it meant that I had to spend more time on it, which probably maybe meant I gave it more love. So it was not a bad thing. It taught me the value of selective behavior.
Cool. And,
Thanks, James.
And maybe just a quick definition of what we mean by quantizing, Andre, if that's okay.
Absolutely. So when you listen to what I've played, it's very on point and very on the beat, right? And that's because quantize is making sure that I don't go too off the grid. I could play like a drunken monkey and it would still pretty much make it not like a drunken monkey. And that is by design. And if you are if you're making something that's, for example, full of lots of instruments, you want everything to be as if it were played in the same room at the same time. Now, as a gigging musician, what I can say is I can play to other people just fine. But when I'm playing to a click and I'm just me in the room, and then I start adding other things, I find that if I haven't quantized, I play really badly. And I don't know what that is. I think it's just not having everybody else backing me up. Mm-hmm. So it's not that I can't play, but it's just the aloneness it's difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I think anyone else who's played, you may get this. You may not. But yeah, it's a weird one, actually.
Yeah. Shall we do a bass?
Yeah. Let's do that. I've got so many choices for bass. It's really hard to know where to start. What I think I might do is try Waves Bass Fingers, because it's a really nice bass for funk and things.
Complete.
So I go back into the browser and I will turn the vendor knob
Round empty. Westwood Instruments.
all the way.
Round Westwood Waves.
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 And then turn the second knob.
Product empty. Bass fingers.
Bass Fingers
Fingers.
right there.
Favorites on.
And again, I'm turning on favorites
Load.
just to make my life a little bit easier. And then
Octave up.
we wait a while for it to load because it's a little bit of a big one.
So all of these sounds so far, you're loading them from within the Komplete Kontrol app, which is...
Yes, I am. For the most part, I'm probably going to do that. Apart from the piano is still in the project at the top. And the reason being is because loading sounds without Komplete means I have to actually go into the mixer and then load it third party. It just takes a lot longer.
One bar.
So, no bass in the intro necessarily
you have joined
because,
the
of
meeting.
course, it's just busy.
Six months.
So I didn't record any of that
17
because I was messing about, but I think actually starting
6 months.
here will become a little C sharp. Right, I'm going to do it again.
6 months.
This is right. So this is another thing I wanted to talk about: the lack of perfection. Because whenever you hear a piece of music that's finished, it is already done and dusted. Everyone's gone through this stage. But when you're hearing the process, you're going to hear a lot of things repeated a lot of times. And I apologize for that. And I'm going to fluff it because I'm only human. And I apologize for that too. But it does mean that when I am finished, it's hopefully going to be good. But it's just that getting there that sometimes takes a lot of time.
6 months.
Yeah, okay, so I can shift all that. I don't mind it at all. Just want to hear that without the road.
Track 3 complete.
Just changing the bass mid-flow. Oh my god.
Levels direct 1.9.
Let's turn the direct down. It's huge.
0.0. Levels direct 0.0. 0.0.
Okay, let's turn the volume down then.
Market keys off. Market keys on. 7 bars, 939. Flame level, minus 1, flame level, minus 6, flame level, 9 bars.
Why are you that big?
9 bars, 6 bars, 921. Track 1 rooms. Top channels, ready. Track 3 complete. Flame level.
Okay.
Market keys off. 16 bars.
Okay, I feel better about that.
I was enjoying that.
That's nice, I think.
There was perhaps one, I think it was in bar 14, maybe a note or maybe it was a
Thank
chord.
you. I'm glad that you... Yeah. So when I was studying in college 25 years ago, when everybody was much younger, one of our teachers told us a story. They were mixing classical concert, and it was all going well, and they'd been hearing it for days, I think, at that point. And in the middle of all of this, there was a door slam on one of the mics. And because he'd been hearing it over and over again, he never noticed. And it only took someone coming into the room to tell him about it. And that story sticks with me. So whenever you're listening to something over and over again, if there's like a fluff or something, you need to listen to it in a different environment or a different way, because you won't always catch it. So you catching that is good, because it means I will now pay attention to bar 14.
16 bars. 14 bars. 14 bars. 14 bars.
It's that, isn't it? It's,
Top 14 bars. 14 bars.
I played E. I should have Yeah, okay, so I know what to do there.
Regions events display sound outside logics. Complete event list window table.
Where am I?
Position status. No position. 14 to 481 scrub outer table.
How did you get there and why are you there?
LMD cell row 1. Position 14 to 481 scrub outer table.
Oh, interesting.
Tracks group sound outside logics.
That's interesting. So what's happened is that I went into the event list, and I think this version of the event list is buggy because it doesn't go to where I think it should go all the time. Other logic users may concur with this. It's very weirdly behaved sometimes. It's very annoying. So why it's done that, I don't know. I'm going to
Sound
try.
outside logic. LMD cell column 1. LMD cell. Position 14 to 481 scrub group.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's
14 bars. 15 bars.
got it.
Sound. Track 3 complete.
Yeah, sounding great.
6 15 bars. And move on.
That's my attempt to the middle 8. So it'd be half time if I did that. I didn't save it, but if I were to do Shift R, it would be saved.
I think let's get it in there.
16 bars. Track release base. 19 bars. Release 16 bars. 19 bars.
So the thing about when you play off the cuff like I just did is that I think I was going from C sharp to A flat, but I actually went C sharp to F sharp. So I have to relearn what I played 17 seconds earlier. It's silly.
16 bars.
This is hilarious. Honestly, I don't know what I played.
16 bars.
So I'm going to cheat and do Shift R at that point so that if I screw up the last part, I've still got the first part. This is how I build. You go along, you build Lego blocks, you come back, you do it, a bit at a time. That way you don't lose the good bits.
20 bars. 23 bars. 219 20 bars. 24 bars. 379.
I missed the thing.
20 bars. 25 bars. 84 ticks.
Oh, okay. Got a staccato the last part.
20 bars. 24 bars.
Thank you very much.
20 bars. 900.
That one has been captured.
Track four tracks. Octave down. 25 bars. 166. 12 bars. 12 bars. 12 bars. 4.
Yeah. go on.
Percussion in that middle 8, Andre, something that keeps a little bit of that high sizzle, but doesn't have all the energy of a full kit.
Yeah. I was thinking like halftime in cymbals actually.
Yeah.
That's 14 bars. 15, 17 bars. 19 bars. 19, 16 bars. 16 bars. 112. 16 bars. 1.
Etc.
26 bars. 4.
Although you could even do hi-hats. What do you say? Because it could be cymbals or hats.
Yeah, I preferred the cymbals actually. It's
Yeah,
nice.
I'm
Nice.
going to do that. then.
Yeah.
And then we come up
Control
again.
group.
Hey,
Tracks group.
go away.
16 bars. 19. Fantastic. 7
That's fun.
25.
I do quite like that.
Yeah, that is really cool. I think
Unbelievable.
the first time I heard it without the cymbals, I wasn't totally taken aback by it, but it's really grown on me. And actually, Katie in the chat is saying she really likes those suspended chords there. So yeah,
I
Good.
like suspended chords. And for me, by the way, this is hard because I'm a jazz guy and I tend to write in minor keys. So being forced to write in a major key makes me think all different. I want to hear it from the top, just kind of get an idea because I need to bring it back now. gives you time for sound without sight. I like Okay, so now it's just a case of relearning the first part that I played like less than an hour ago. So they just listen to, where are we?
25 bars.
25.
79 bars.
Yeah.
425 bars.
It's that, isn't it? I could copy it, but I think it's super lazy and I want to replay it because it's just always a different feel when you do that.
17 bars. 9 bars. 9 bars.
So, so why am I playing up there an octave? Just to remind myself of what I played.
25 bars.
Because honestly, sometimes I have the memory of a goldfish and I hear it and I forget it. So I'm just...
24 bars. 25 bars. 24 bars. 25 bars. 25 bars.
25.
Gareth Brown has joined the meeting.
No.
26 bars.
don't
26
hit
bars.
that. The thing about roads is it barks. If you catch it just the wrong way,
Undo.
you will hit a velocity that you don't like. And got to be super careful with that. Kind of ending it there now.
37 bars.
I want to see how long it is.
100, 1 hour, 1 minute, 6 seconds, 462 seconds, traction. Play position, rubber.
So we're at 1 hour, 1 minute. Sorry, the way that the voiceover reports timing is hilarious. So when you're at 0 hours,
Steve
0
Matzera
minutes,
has joined the
seconds,
meeting.
it's 1 hour. So I always have to like back translate in my head, and then I say it wrong to people, and I'm like, yeah, that's 1 hour and 30 seconds. What are you talking about? It's 30 seconds. Oh yeah, sorry. It's all how it's displayed. It's really weird. So we've actually achieved our minute. So all I need to do now is just do the last part of the bass, redo the drums, not redo, but add to, and then tidy up and mix and whatever.
Mix up tracks, group. Mix tracks, group. Track to bass. Bass.
Bass.
25 bars. 24 bars.
Hey,
Track to roads. 37 bars.
where did my...
27, road 28 bars. 7 roads. 28
It's
bars.
got a 3-bar gap, Andre.
Yeah, I see that. Where did you come from?
27 bars. Minimum. 29 bars.
Oh, shuffle.
24 bars. 25 bars. 24 bars.
I do not know how that
26 bars.
happens.
607.
Anyway, I shuffled it left. There's a feature in Logic, and I think Reaper has it too, where basically you just push the MIDI or audio back to where it's supposed to be, and it touches up against the, kind of glues it together, essentially. Yeah, that's really weird. I've never seen that.
Track to bass. Bass.
Right.
23 bars. 25 bars. 24 bars. 24 bars. 27 bars. 426. 24 bars. Track 4 drums. Drums. Octave down. 24 bars. 24 bars. 25 bars. 677.
The metronome on for that.
24 bars.
By the way, so the way that the cymbals work on this kit is you have to jump up really high with your fingers, and I completely hit 2 empty notes where they were supposed to be cymbals. Gotta love it.
24 bars.
Damn it.
13.31 bars.
I already fixed the ghost notes later. So that happened.
Sounding great. So I guess it'd be great to get some input from everyone in the audience now.
Yeah, come on, speak
How
up and tell me your dreams and all your hopes.
Adapt what we've got. What else could we add? I'm thinking perhaps over this repeat section, we could have maybe a synth lead. Nothing too kind of...
No, nothing. Yeah, I know what you're saying, actually. Nothing crazy, just a thing.
Just a sweet
Space.
kind of mellow lead.
You know, funny thing is that synths are possibly one of the hardest things to find purely because there are so many of them. Yeah. I'm not saying I can't do it or won't do it, but it's just that aspect. Like I've got so many products, and this is the trouble. Sometimes you've got too many ingredients. I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's okay. And
just to give you a heads up, Andre, I'd like to quite make this a vintagey style, add a little bit of character to it if you're okay with that.
Yeah. Do you want to do that part? Because obviously they have all the stems and things.
I could do that part.
Yeah. Because obviously I'll give you all the raws and all that kind of thing. It's just always fun to see what people come up with.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, at the end of this, I do want to, share the recording as quickly as possible with the community as a whole and see if anyone wants to record, like, I don't know, a guitar layer or whatever people feel like.
I think that would be really cool.
I'd love to work in any audio submissions that we get back from people that are here today.
Lovely idea. Yeah, so what I'll do, because I have only a limited amount of tracks, I don't mean that I have only access to a limited amount of tracks, but I only put limited amount in the project. So I've got from top down piano empty, then a Rhodes track, then the bass track and the drum track. So what I do now to make another one is I can duplicate one of the existing tracks. And because I like to keep all my chords tracks together and then bass and then drums, I'm going to duplicate the Rhodes track by doing Command D. And it calls it Rhodes again. It's also track 3. And then I'll just shift enter.
Application dialog. Rename track. Edit text. Blank. Logic Pro. Sends outside Logic's tracks window.
And now it's synth.
Logic keys off.
And I have Logic keys on. Now it's off. So let me.
Logic keys on. Phase level 0.0 dB. Logic keys off.
I just turned up the sound back to 0 dB. So now we have to hunt for a synth sound.
Bass.
Oh joy!
Track 3 synth.
We've got a suggestion from Garrett, who's asking, do we think we can fit a super saw into this?
Oh, probably. I mean, I've got all the Roland Clouds stuff, so I think anything's possible. What I want to do is switch to
quiet music. Roland Cloud.
Roland Cloud.
Product empty. SRX Piano 2.
And
DR 808.
Scroll down.
Synology. 155080.
155080, which is hilarious to me. That's capital X, capital V, Roland numerals, Roland numerals, yeah. So 155080 is XV 5080.
Type empty.
And
subtype empty disabled. Subbank empty disabled.
I'm going to set the type
empty
to
guitar.
Synth
percussion. Type
lead.
percussion. Plus strings. Read sound effects. Synth LED.
Synth lead.
Synth LED.
Synth lead, not synth LED.
Favorites on.
And turn favorites on and load this and hope it doesn't crash.
Next. Next.
Many so you see what I mean? This is the trouble, Jay. There's so many sounds.
Exactly. I think one of those original sounds that filtered to take out some of the high frequencies could be cool. I want something quite mellow, so something.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking that as well. No.
Next. 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 Next.
This sound, even though it's not right for the piece, is one of my favorites because it's very, very emotive. Like. Yeah, don't do the portmanteau thing. You go too low and you go too high, and it can't cope with it, so it doesn't play properly. But it's really beautiful. Yeah. I do quite like that in certain circumstances.
Nice. That's quite nice, but I don't really like the way the filter opens up at the end of the note.
Do you not? It's funny because I actually love that. It's so interesting how people love different things. Yeah, I like that because I don't know, it feels fun. But I know what you're saying. This sound is called Talkbox, and it's one of those that if you drop down like a lot of octaves,
octave down,
then it's crazy because You can do that with it. That's very mellow, isn't it?
That's nice, yeah. Do you think we could take down some of the delay?
If I have access to the control, now this is where this thing doesn't always work out very friendly. Let me see.
Page right. Tune course 64. MIDI. CC 14 0.
No, don't do that.
Plugin. Tune course 64. Page right. Levels turn 1 127. Page right. Course tune turn 1 64.
Course tune.
Page right. Trisend turn 1 127. Trisend turn 2 120. Trisend turn 3 127. Trisend turn 4 CH send turn 1 CH send turn 2 1 CH send turn 4 127. Page right. Resend turn 1 100.
Send.
Resend turn 4 80. Unassigned. Medi Solari has joined the meeting. Unassigned.
Oh no, where's my delay send?
Unassigned.
That's really sad. Yeah,
Resend
see, the
turn 1
problem
100.
is that not everybody maps all parameters. And this is why having access to the raw plugin in first party mode is great. But the trouble, of course, then is that when you get some plugins, they don't have good UIs. So it's actually hard to load the sound you want. So it's trade-offs.
Page right disabled.
Always trade-offs.
Resend turn 1 100. Resend turn 2 127. Page left. Course tune turn 1 60. Page left. Levels turn 1. Page left disabled. Main reso 64. Main attack. Main release
I'm just
64.
seeing.
Unassigned. Main pan 60. Main patch level 1. Main level 90.
Okay, so we like that kind of sound. So that means I could probably, possibly, maybe look for it somewhere else. There are options. There's always
We've not actually heard it in context yet. The delay
No,
might
we
be
haven't. I play over bar 25.
The position window. Tracks group sound outside audience. Tracks window.
I know what I'm looking for now. Yeah, so there's a really nice sound actually that I think might work in SRX 7. Okay, hold on.
Run cloud.
Hold on.
2.
Give me a
JD 800.
moment.
Empty.
I'm going too far.
SRX key product. SRX studio.
SRX keyboard.
SRX keyboards.
Yes.
Go up LDSRX. SH joint. Sim solo SRX. Load disabled.
Right, do I have access to
Main
reverb?
cutoff 64.
I should.
Unassigned. Main pan. Main patch level 127. Main reso. Main attack 64. Page right. Tune course 60. Page right. Levels turn 1. Page right.
Because
Resend turn 1 67. 0. 4. 0. 2. 2.
it might be the MFX and James knows about that.
Unassigned. Unassigned.
You see, I've turned all the reverbs down. You heard it say
Resend turn 1 0.
reverb 0,
Resend turn 3 0.
tone 2 0.
Resend turn 3 0. Resend turn 4 1 1.
But it's still too much. However, hold on. I
Run
have one
cloud.
more thing.
Synology. Product.
Okay.
Synology. Bank.
I go here,
EXZ wave expansions.
change to wave expansions.
Factory. SDZ sound packs.
Yes, it's wave
Factory.
expansions, isn't it? Yes, it is.
EXZ wave expansions.
And then
EXZ wave
favorites are
expansions.
still on.
Go up LDSRX. Sim solo SRX. Load disabled.
And then we try from Synology. So there are two places I can use Roland Cloud. There's the original SRX sound. This is still loading. Synology, for being a modern plugin, is one of the slowest things in the world to load. That delay is less in your face, isn't it?
24 bars.
With a bit of volume down, it could work.
I like that. And actually, we've got a few comments in the chat saying that the delay generally is quite good. I like it. I think that level of delay works pretty well for me.
Yeah, it's not so bad. This is the hunt I was talking about earlier. It's like, you know, not trying to get the perfect sound and trying to aim for perfection. It doesn't always happen the very first time. So,
Yeah.
all of that.
24 bars. 24 bars.
So do you know what you want me to play around here? Do you want me to just sort of like play with the Rhodes chords, or do you have like a particular like, because some people like the kind of thing, which is fun, old school vibey, but you know, some of the
I
vibrato
think
stuff is
we
nice.
don't need to overdo any.
No, I know. I was thinking that.
Like playing with the chords, but also just a couple of moments of color would be awesome.
Yeah.
24 bars.
I missed the cue. I missed the cue.
24 bars.
I played late. Did you notice? Didn't mean to.
31 bars. Split regions and display 31 selection deleted. 30 bars.
Right.
Logic Pro not responding. Sound outside logics. Tracks.
Please behave.
Road stat 3 synth.
Okay, good.
25 bars. 921 clicks.
So what I did there is it's coming in the middle of a bar because I did a thing called shift space. And shift space plays from where the MIDI data or audio data starts. So it's not playing from the beginning of the actual phrase, which is here. Wait, is that late? Shouldn't have been. Ah, damn it. I'm going to re-record the whole thing.
Track 3 synth.
This happens. It's okay.
Select 25 bars.
I'm good. I'm good.
25 bars. 25 bars.
Nice. And I did a fade out with my foot with the expression pedal there. So if you...
30 bars. 33 bars.
Yeah, I love the dip in pitch.
Bit
as
of
well.
a pitch down, yeah. Snuck that in there. So that is me for the moment. I'm going to fix those two ghost notes in the snare because I keep hearing it.
30 bars. 30 bars. 30 bars. 30 bars. Drums down. Drums. Tracks group. Sound outside logics. Tracks window. 30 bars. 280. 30 bars. 446 clicks. 30 bars. Top channel 30 bars. 416 clicks. Speech muted.
So if you're curious what I did, I muted speech because I know where I need to be, and sometimes hearing the bars and beats and ticks is actually very distracting. So then it just becomes like an annoyance. So yeah, it's a whole thing. I'm going to delete them and re-add them by hand real carefully because I could play them and I don't want to. I mean, I could move them around, but I don't want to. Even better. Just right on the nose. Okay, good. So I can call that
Bass,
a
drums.
day.
Speech unmuted.
So from the very top then,
Drums dialogue. Drums. Drums.
can you
View.
stop
Complete
doing
control.
that?
Sound outside logics.
I actually completely forgot about this bit. Goldfish.
Mehdi Salami's left the meeting. Track list bass.
So there we have it. In an hour-ish.
And here's how the track sounds after recording a guitar, some percussion, and giving it all a mix. we concluded the session with some time for Q&A. We had one question in the chat from Scott asking if you could give an overview of what Logic Ease is and how it improves workflows and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. So Logic Ease is created by Gary Redfern-Gray and others. I'm not sure which others. And there's a new thing out as well now called Logic Magician, which is based around the Keyboard Ninja key map. So I need a bit of backstory. There are a few key maps floating around the Logic community, a bit like Osara for Reaper. There's a key map that I use called the VO Logic key map, voice over Logic, which was not started by me, but is now being maintained by me entirely. And it was started by a guy called Dominic. And when I first started using Logic, he hooked me up with that. So that's what I use and what I teach my students to use. And Logic Ease is keyboard agnostic, key commands agnostic, I would say. And it's a keyboard maestro macro set of scripts that runs and allows you to, for example, pan and turn up and down the volume, which Logic does not have default keys for because it's really annoying like that. I think it's very similar to the Reaper paradigm, where I can use command up, down for volume and left and right for pan. And you can press V or P for volume and pan respectively. And you can also, for example, do double V to reset the volume to 0 dB and double P for center. And it does a whole host of other stuff. But I can tell you that because I grew up without it, and this only came around in the last 2, 3, 4 years, I don't use it for very many things. I use it for hearing the names of regions, because when you cursor over regions, Logic does not report those natively. And I use it for doing volumes, as you may have noticed today, for example. And it's not because I don't like it, but it's because I haven't sort of muscle memoried it into my life. So Keyboard Magician by Steve at logic.band is an entirely different beast, but does some of the same things, I think. The only reason I haven't ever tested it is because it relies on the Keyboard Ninja key map for Logic, which is also another thing made by Steve, who's VI as well. But the problem is I would have to learn an entirely new set of Logic bass keys, which I don't want to do because I'm comfortable in my own furry slippers. Do you know what I mean? So I haven't done that. But for those starting out, you've got the choice. You've got a choice of Keyboard Maestro with VO Logic and the Logic Ease, or you start out with Keyboard Ninja and Logic Magician. So the choices are there. And of course, or you could just go your own way, right? You can use the default Logic keys if you want to, but you're missing a lot of functionality. Both VO Logic and Keyboard Ninja have some commonalities. For example, Jay, I can do Command Option 1 or all the way to 0 to bring up the first 10 effect slots. By default, Logic does not offer this. And we've got loads of other stuff. So, cool. Yeah, it's just all a matter of the kind of things you want and need.
Shortcuts and quicker ways of working, which is really
right. Because when you are blind, of course, we don't use the mouse, and I think the mouse is actually woefully inefficient for a lot of things. So we had to find our own workarounds. And I have been told by a couple of engineers that do Logic for a living that I'm as fast as they are in Logic without the mouse, and I think they're often surprised by that. So Logic Keys helps you to do that if you want it to as well. So yeah, choices.
You're definitely quicker than me in Logic, Andre, which is great.
You've got to have parity, with sighted peers, because the thing is, people just won't come to you for work otherwise.
Yeah. It would be great if you could share any thoughts you've got on any good free sounds or pieces of kit that have come out in the last year or two, Andre. Anything that, because there's a bit of a barrier to entry to some of this stuff.
It is.
If you're buying a Complete Control keyboard, that's a bit of cash. If you're buying Logic, that's a bit of cash. What about great sounds that maybe you don't have to shell out so much for?
The one thing that I think a lot of people go back to again and again, because they are just exemplary, is Surge XT, which is a free synthesizer, very accessible, does not rely on Complete Control at all. I do have presets for it, but you don't need them, and works across Windows and Mac. Really good accessibility across the board. They're using Juice, J-U-C-E framework, and Scott could definitely tell you more about that than I could. But basically, it's very rare to find a synth where you can build a sound from the ground up as a blind person. You can do that in Surge, completely and utterly independently. But if you are already in the Complete ecosystem or thinking about it, and you want some free contact libraries, there are a handful of companies that I recommend to start looking at. Fracture Sounds, which is the UK producer of libraries, they have, I think, 20 or 21 free libraries called the Blueprint series. They've got drums, Rhodes, a thing called Epicrand, which is like an octave piano. They've got a whole bunch of other stuff, some really nice strings and brass and things as well. And there's Project Sam, who have 2 sets of libraries called TFO, the Free Orchestra. They're a Dutch company, and they do orchestral plugins. Some of the greatest sounds in the industry. You will have heard a Project Sam sound at least 500 times in your life. I can guarantee that. There's also Sonoscore. They have a free 4 gigabyte library called Orchestral Elements, I think it's called. And it's kind of like a phrase-based, you play chords and it plays different instruments as you play them. Quite nice for building blocks. And I'm going to be a shameless person. I have a podcast with my wife. And the music for that podcast was done with all free libraries from the companies I've mentioned, and also Heaviosity. They have a series called Heaviosity Foundations, which is, I think, 7-8 libraries, if memory serves. And also Spitfire. They do Labs, which is also now a very accessible plugin. And this is the one thing that doesn't require complete control, really. So there's a lot of choice, and I've thrown a lot of names at you. So if you have any questions afterwards and you want to get in touch, you can, and I'll try and point you in the right direction.
The Spitfire Lab stuff is so good. So many different libraries that have been created by, well, some created by volunteers, some created by interns at Spitfire, but super high quality stuff.
Yes.
It's some quite like interesting stuff that you don't see elsewhere as well. Some experimental like guitar sounds and other things like percussion that you just don't get in other libraries.
That's right. And now Crowhill, which is a new company that only came out, I think, last year or the year before, they're doing something called Vaults. Now, their UIs are not great, but they are free. And the hope is that they will make them better over time. But the thing is, they're actually beholden to another company for their Juice framework. It's actually UJAM. And the UJAM people, they need to fix their framework so that we have a better experience across a lot of products, including Rhodes and some others as well. Because a lot of people seem to have used them as the starting block. So whenever UJAM increase the accessibility of their products, anyone who's building on those products, like Crowhill, like Rhodes, is going to benefit down the line. So we just hope and push them in the right direction.
Yeah, it's an iterative process, isn't it? And stuff just keeps getting incrementally better and better each year. And we hope that continues and that accelerates over time.
This is the plan.
So got a question from Melissa who's asking, what's the podcast with your wife called?
The podcast with my wife is called Strungecast, and that's strange with 2 O's, okay? Strange with 2 O's and no A. And it's called that because the very first time we met, that's what she said to me in my living room. She said, "You're very strange." And I said, "What's that?" And she said, "It's my word for strange." And I liked it. And so 16, 17 years later, when we were looking for a podcast name, that's what we chose. So when you go to my website or when you look on YouTube, you'll find it. It's also nice because when you Google that name or web search it with your preferred search engine, you'll only ever find our podcast because it's such an unusual word. And that's one thing I wanted. It was something unique.
A strange word. Yeah.
Exactly.
Andre,
You're using it in the correct context. I'm so proud.
What I would love to do is I would like the stems, and also I'd like to share the stems with other people here, if that's okay.
I hope you do, yeah.
Do you mind demonstrating the process of getting stems out of Logic?
Yeah, so what I would do, and what I can do right now, is I can save the project.
Track 3, track Rhodes.
Let me just
Track 1, piano.
delete this empty piano track.
Track Rhodes.
It's gone now.
1 bar.
I'm going to consolidate and save everything to make sure it is one last time.
Cancel button. Tracks group sound outside Logic.
All I did then is do Control W, which brings up the save and consolidate, at least with the VO Logic key map. That's not a default key. And now I can do Command Shift E, and that is going to bounce all of these to stems, all the tracks. And it's going to make my mic go offline for a bit because I'm actually using a mic chain within Logic. So I'm going to go silent in just a second.
Open dialog.
I'm going to point it at the right direction I want it to save.
Change the item Logic. Where pop button. Change the item Logic. Menu click temp.
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 And press enter. Bye.
So I can see Andre is still in the chat, but he's got a progress bar that's just saying exporting all tracks. And what we're hopefully going to have at the end of this process is a track for each channel
Hey.
in
Nice,
the
quick.
project.
So let's check it. I'm going to go to Finder.
Finder. Finder. Desktop.
I'm going to do Command Shift C.
Place map.
K for complete,
Complete volume.
which is my drive.
List view. Temp.
Open it.
Temp folder.
T for temp.
List view. Table.
Open it.
Open USB folder. 0 and Rhodes bar wait for audio.
And if I do space using quick look, we should be able to hear the roads.
0
There, look at that. Go down to bass. Oh, the bass is not going to play in the beginning, is it?
and group.
I'm going to check it.
Control. Mute section. Travel delay 1 every. Delay 4 seconds. Inside. Left 14 seconds. 17 seconds. 21 seconds. 25 seconds.
Are you there?
29 seconds.
On the synth channel at the moment, Andre.
Oh, okay.
36. 39 seconds. 43
Must have
seconds.
jumped.
47 seconds.
There it is. Synth is there. Okay.
Outside. After group.
Had a bit of a scare there. Oh yeah, of course it is, because it goes Rhodes synth bass, not Rose Spade synth. Rhodes bass synth.
Preview.
Everything is
Move.
fine.
Mute. Travel 7 seconds. Inside. 11 seconds. Outside. After group.
Everything is fine. and drums we know is also in on the beginning. So everything is
Temp window. View table. Row 66.
everything
Before drums are wave
should be.
2014.
So that is nice.
So we've got a WAV file of each track, which is great.
I'll also bounce out in a second just an everything as it is mixed at the moment, which is not great, obviously.
As a mix.
But you can fix that.
Awesome. We've got a hand up from Marshall.
Yes.
That was absolutely amazing. Thank you for that.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely amazing. And giving me some inspiration as well.
I think one of the hardest things to do, apart from working on the fly and not knowing what on earth is going to happen, is just trying to find the right sounds quick enough to make an hour not take ages, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the same, but when it comes to mixing, I often try and mix a track in a set amount of time.
It's a really good challenge. And for those of you who are MIDI players like myself, I challenge you to pick a plugin, particularly if it's got more than one sound in it, and build an entire track around that plugin, because you will have a great time and you'll be forced to think differently and also think inside a very small box. I love doing that.
Totally agree. It's great to actually limit your options sometimes. And I think that skill of doing something good quickly, that's what you have to develop as a working freelance engineer, right? Is you need to be able to get stems in and get them out the same day with a mix. If you're writing for a library, something like that, you have to develop the skill of not being too precious about what it is you're doing. Obviously, it's got to be of high quality, but it's also about kind of, the numbers, just getting pieces out.
Yeah, having a mix template helps with that as well. That's something that I've been experimenting with recently as well, having a proper mix template.
Templates are like the best thing, no matter what you're doing.
I have tracking templates, and whenever I track stuff, I always mix the same way with the same channel names.
It's consistency
and same
then, and especially if you're doing an album, you want that sound of consistency, unless the rules don't apply. But normally, you want consistency. So I can see why you do that. I do the same for the podcast. I have a podcast template. It's got 2 tracks on it. My wife's mic and my mic, a little bit of reverb, a bit of panning, the supertone clear, and I record into that, and then I just save it under a new name each time. It's great. People don't get that. If you set up the thing that you're working on every time, you're spending 15, 20 minutes just doing that, wasting an hour or whatever time you spent doing that. Templates. Everybody use templates.
Brilliant. We had one more question. So thank you very much, Marshall. And it was from a teacher, actually, who was asking to have a basic accessible setup in a music tech lab. So they've got some Macs already.
Brilliant.
Would you recommend Logic plus a Komplete Kontrol keyboard, Andre? And what kind of basic sample libraries to get people through music tech? What would you be looking at, do you reckon?
Price for those things plus an audio interface under £200. Because depending on what you want your students to have, you could start them off with the Komplete Kontrol M32, which is only 32 mini keys, hence the M. But really, I recommend people go for something like the A49, which is a budget keyboard. I think it's about 150 UK. And then you could get like one of the Behringer interfaces, which often comes up for, 50, 60 quid. So, all right, a bit more than 200. But let's say less than 300, yeah? So 250, I would say. And then the libraries, everything I mentioned above, because it's all free, but Native Instruments themselves give you Complete Start, which is, I think, 6 gigs of free libraries just for buying the keyboard. So you can start really well and really strong. If we'd have had this conversation back in 2015 or 16, there would be so fewer libraries, far fewer libraries. And I wouldn't have been able to say, do that. I couldn't have recommended any of this stuff because it just wasn't there. But post-COVID, a lot of things happened. A lot of people stepped up, different manufacturers, and they gave us a lot of great libraries. So we're in a really good position now. If you hunt out my YouTube channel and you look for the Inspired by Sound video on the Struenscast music, purely because it's using all free libraries, I just want to impress you with the sounds you can get from free libraries. And I link to all the libraries in the video description. So hopefully you'll get a kick out of that and be like, oh, I can do that.
If you've got the music, would you like to just share it while we've got the meeting here, Andre?
Oh yeah, I will play it. The music for Struenscast using only free libraries, and it's not free while stocks last. It's completely free, always goes like this. It's about 45 seconds. Just about your podcast length here, but yours is a bit longer. But yeah, slow, stately, and all free.
Amazing. Beautiful sounds in there. And yeah, great composition. So thank you very much for sharing that, Andre. That's great.
This has been fun, I got to say.
That's super fun.
Thanks for coming along. And I hope that this inspires you to try your own hand at whatever it is, or doing something fun, or just anything, because this kind of thing is so fun to do.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for your time, Andre, and sharing your expertise with us. We're getting a few awesome thankses in the chat. So yeah, it's been a really, really valuable session. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Sound Without Sight podcast. Sound Without Sight is a community-driven online hub collating resources and opportunities to enable blind and partially sighted musicians and audio engineers to break down access barriers. Why not share some accessibility solutions you've found on our Knowledge Hub? You can learn more and get involved at soundwithoutsight.org. If you've enjoyed listening to this podcast, please consider making a donation to support the project. You can do so at soundwithoutsight.org/donate. The music you're listening to was composed by Andre Louis and members of the Sound Without Sight community.